party should go ahead. The party's position is that it has accepted the verdict, though we have signals that the Ashanti Regional Chairman is not happy the way Nana-Addo rushed quickly to concede defeat and congratulate President Mahama. Is this perhaps one of the signals that all is not that well within the party?
Well, I think that this question should be addressed to those who say that there is no problem in the MPP, right? Because I think that the Ashanti Regional Chairman cannot say that he's bigger than the majority of other members who were consulted. So that gives an example that all may not be well. And that, I think, should be worrying. They may tell you and I is not true, but that should be very worrying for them.
Would you say that the NPP should give Nana-Addo another chance as far as the flag bearership of the party is concerned, perhaps in 2016?
I think that it is not for the NPP to give another chance. It's for the delegates. You know that because of their revised constitution,
right, to
avoid the issue of 17 persons contesting again, the party 100-member NEC, National Executive Commission,
right,
committee, will have to, if there are more than 5, will have to vote to take the top 5 before they are presented to the larger voter public. Secondly, they will also know that I think that they need to have elections at polling station level, constituency, regional, national, before they have it. So clearly, they have a few things on their hands. Now, there have to be 2 things, and now be 72 in 2016. So what Nana said is he's going to think about his future. Now, so the next 5-6 weeks should see Nana taking a decision and declaring it open whether for him to go a third time in 2016 or not.
All right. Ben, kindly hold the line. Let me speak to a member of parliament of the NPP and deputy, one of the minority member, Mr. Dominic Nitiwil, there. And Mr. Dominic Nitiwil, thanks so much for joining us. Now, tell us exactly, were there very drastic decisions taken by the National Executive Committee, perhaps if it has finished its meeting?
Well, good evening to your listeners. There were no major radical decisions or rapid decisions taken. It was just expected that the National Council that mandated the 3 petitioners to take this matter in the first place to the Supreme Court needed to be briefed, and that the final decision on the way forward for us regarding this particular petition needed to be taken by the National Council, and that's exactly what we did.
Right.
The National Council has accepted the position taken by the petitioners that they will not go for review. They have also accepted to congratulate the president and move together and play the role of opposition. They have also accepted that a finality has been brought to this case with regard to the 2012 election for us to be able to move as one nation. And thirdly, to say that as a party and as an opposition party, we disagree strongly with what happened, but we will accept it and ensure our supporters to do the same so that nobody gets into any trouble regarding this particular case. As far as we are concerned, the case is closed.
Right.
We are not happy, but the case is closed and we'll move forward.
Were there any decision also on the fact that, don't forget that members of parliament of the MPP took a decision to boycott certain functions being undertaken by the president as a result of the fact that you disagreed earlier he won the election. Has that decision been rescinded?
First of all, the National Council took that decision and recommended to us that as much as possible we should refrain from doing certain things with the government as at the time we took that decision.
Right.
Today, the National Council again has said that, look, as far as we are concerned as the National Council, this matter has come to a closure. There's certainty as to who now is the president of the Republic of this nation. And for that matter, we are recommending to Parliament to also cooperate extensively with the majority in Parliament and with the government. And as much as possible, whatever we were not doing, we should begin to start doing. The minority will be meeting within next week to, of course, take a decision on it. But I, as a person and as a deputy leader, I don't see as deviating or disrespecting or disregarding the views of the National Council. I'm pretty sure that we'll accept it. But that decision has not been taken because we haven't met. But when we meet, I'm sure we'll accept that decision and then bring full finality to this particular matter and move forward.
In moving forward, how would you react to the concerns that the minorities' boycott of certain key functions of President Mahama might have affected the ordinary Ghanaian who you represented?
Yes, it's true that we did boycott the inauguration. We boycotted the putting together of the government, that is the appointments committee. Also boycotted the asking of questions. Other than that, I think the minority participated in almost everything that you would expect us to do, committee meetings, budget, and any other thing that you would expect the minority to participate. It's just the 3 or 4 things that I've said that we didn't do. Yes, if you look at it from maybe the perspective of the ordinary Ghanaian, some will say, well, maybe it has affected them, but I believe that that's a sacrifice all of us.
Do you think maybe, or it has affected them because the minority perhaps could have blocked certain ministers who they think were not up to scratch, and yet you were not there, so they are now performing as ministers?
I hope as a nation to come to a time that the minority will be able to block somebody who obviously is not qualified, or somebody, not just the qualification in terms of the ability to become a minister, but the qualification in terms of the fact that the person cannot deliver and that the person is not a good material. I hope there will come a time that minority will be able to do that, but as to sit in this nation,
Honorable Deputy Minority Leader, it has happened before. Some ministers had been prevented because of the opposition parties being there with the Parliament committee.
Well, since 1992, I know that people didn't go through because constitutionally they were not qualified to do, like Spio Gabra and like somebody other person. But I'm not sure that because the minorities are, well, Mr. Kwesi X is not qualified. If you look at the CV or you look at his experience or the way he's answering the questions or his background is not qualified, and government has accepted that. The majority will always use their numbers. But I just wanted to address the issue that we feel that what we did was in the best interest of this nation. Everybody is praising Ghana for the fact that with all these problems, it could have gone haywire, but we have been able to maintain it. We hope and we believe that people should understand that maybe if we hadn't taken these decisions that we did, some extremists would have been able to do things that all of us would not be able to contain. We hope that what we did was able to satisfy to some extent our supporters. We have the hawks in there, we have the extremists in there, and I'm sure that some of the steps we took is what calmed the turbulent waters for us to get where we are today. So I just hope that in the future we don't even allow that to happen by the way we go about in the conduct of our elections, so that we don't get where we have gotten to.
Just before I let you go, can the NPP put the pieces together and get up as a formidable opposition party for 2016 and beyond?
I think that if we say that we don't face obstacles in and outside the party, we will be deceiving ourselves. But I tell you, NPP is a very strong party. NDC faced worse issues 2004 from their conference to Kofredua to outside, and even 2008 and even 2012, they face worse issues. But I can tell you, NPP has already, the united force that I saw, the unison with which I saw, the love with which I saw within the National Council, I can tell you that NPP has already begun surmounting the obstacles that are coming our way. We don't have any problems at all. And you will see us even grow stronger and stronger as the years roll by. No problem at all. We are not shaking, not at all, not a single bit.
Which of the challenges would you think the NPP need to resolve quickly if it needed to get up and get things going?
Well, of course, you would.
Well,
you would understand.
Okay, go ahead.
Well, you would understand that there's going to be internal elections, the internal dynamics within the party. You would understand as a party, once we have a vacancy with flag bearer, and there's going to be vacancies with national executives and other positions within the party, you would understand that people would throw in their hat. But you trust me, NPP would overcome these things. That by our constitution, we should begin to look at the elections from the polling station right down to the national level. The Congress, the National Council mandated leadership of the party and the leadership of Parliament to work out modalities for these things to be done. Very soon we'll come out with the guidelines for all these things to be done. And I'm sure next year by this time you will have seen that most of our officers will have been elected for us to move on to wherever we believe that we should be able to move on. So there should not be any panic at all. I can assure our supporters there's no problem at all. As far as the MPP is concerned, there's nothing that's late. We will be able to do what we need to do as a party in consultation with leadership and the National Council and our elders. What is important is unity, both from the grassroots to the national level. And the NPP is really, really united. And I'm happy about that.
Thank you so much. Mr. Dominic Nitiwil is a deputy minority leader in Parliament there, talking to us about the way forward for the NPP as it gets ready to go to the polls. And of course, we'll be telling you more about what you've been talking to us about when we move on. But the Deputy Communication Director of the NPP, Perry Kujato, says the party is as strong as ever. Let's take a listen to him.
The party goes back to the drawing board and prepare for the next election. Party will pull its structures together and go back to the field, to the grassroots, and start canvassing for votes.
Are we ready for a rerun?
This party is always ready. It's always ready for anything. This is a party that has been built over 21 years. You remember we just celebrated 21 years last week, Thursday. So this is a formidable national party that is ready with structures at every nook and cranny of this country. We are always ready to politic.
The first vice chairman of the NPP, Fred Owari, also says the party, among other things, will be electing its new flag bearer in 2 years.
Yeah, Nanado, all of us were saddened, but we believe in rule of law, and we went to court knowing that we'll win or lose. We are saddened, but we accept the verdict. We're not going to contest it. There's no point for any review. What we'll do is to make sure that we get a party on track and be able to focus on 2016. Well, the party has its own life. It will continue to live. The challenge will be to, first of all, go around the whole country and reassure our members, explain to them what has happened and the way forward. We think that we need to manage the party in a way that would excite the youth and the women for them to become more and more active rather than becoming depressed. And so those are the things that moving forward you see the party leadership doing. Flag bearer is maybe 2 years to election time. I can't see that happening till we'll fix the timetable, but that will be sometime maybe 2014. Well, we'll be going around, as I said. We'll have a meeting in some few minutes from now at the office. A lot of decisions will be taken at that point. So let that happen first, then you know the details.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Well, Fred Owari, first national vice chairperson of the NPP. Ben Efson is back on the phone. Mr. Ben Efson, you heard Mr. Dominic Nitiwil talking about the issue of the decision to boycott certain key functions of the president. The concerns of the public is that the minority wasted the country's time because the electorate, those who voted for them, asked them to go and work, and yet they decided to boycott, for instance, the vetting of the president ministers. The concern is that this is a worry for the electorate who voted for them.
Well, I don't think it is right to say that they wasted the country's time. I believe that they exercised an option of going to court. What I disagree with, which they're entitled to, but I disagree, is that their decision to boycott the vetting of ministers, and so because whether you boycott the vetting of ministers or not,
right.
So whether you boycott or not, they'll be sworn in and work anyway. So I think that boycotting the vetting, which was supposed to bring out nominees who were inadequate, they abandoned their right to their public. But I don't think the 8 months in court was a waste of time.
No, not really the 8 months. The concern is that the decision to boycott, for instance, the vetting of ministers really had a worry for the electorate who voted for them.
That one I agree. That the boycott of vetting, I agree that the issue of asking questions, some of them had in fact table questions to ask ministers. They did not ask. That I think was wrong. And I believe that, look, if the NDC is smart and in constituencies where the results were close, the NDC candidates for 2016 could use this against them. That, look, don't vote for the MPP candidate, especially if the person is an incumbent MP. That don't vote when you gave him the mandate. He did not seek your welfare in Parliament.
Finally, before I let you go, now, Mr. Dominic Nitiwul has also conceded to the fact that, of course, factionalism is clear in the NPP. Now, how should they overcome this?
Well, I think that they must sit down and decide to tell themselves the truth. That, look, there's a growing body within the MPP which is advocating that since the factionalism is mainly between the Kufuor faction, the Ashanti and Akim factions, the MPP as a sort of truce should be able to go for a presidential candidate from either the northern regions, central, western, or a GAN, Greater Accra. That once you pick, they decide that, look, the Achim and the Ashanti say, look, we'll not send anybody, and that we are going to pick somebody from these regions. That should be able to settle those nerves, and that would be an important. But so somebody can decide to go to court, but they are trying to get them out. But once they agree, the two main, that is President Kufuor and Akufo-Addo, agree, I believe that could be the first step, because that's a very thorny issue that you have to deal with.
Thank you so much for speaking to us on today's big story. Mr. Benefson is a managing editor of the Daily Dispatch and a poster there talking to us about the way forward for the NPP going ahead after the Supreme Court verdict. And not more of you have been talking to us about how the NPP can regroup and become a formidable opposition. Let's take a listen.
NPP have a very big problem because they have a long way to go. Now they don't have a leader. And Nanado said he's going to rest for some time. So they are now coming to choose their leader. And in Ghana, when you choose a leader, you need to be popular before people understand. And they don't have any leader. So I think they have a very big problem now.
It looked like we have to call everybody to sit down at the table to put our differences aside so that the party can be strong again. Because without MPP, I don't think Ghana can be strong. You see, the leadership of MPP, I think we need strong men.
Right, so some comments there on how the NPP can regroup and become that formidable opposition there. And of course, when the lady who is what you are and what she is gets here, she's going to tell us some of your comments onto our social media platform on the way forward for the NPP becoming that formidable opposition that will put governments on its toes. And that will be the other segment of today's big story, the JN Interactive. The show was brought to you by Blue Rose Limited, Search for and Star Life Assurance. My name is Brian, and I've not gone yet. I'll come back with Mariam, and the other segment will take off right away. Stay right there. We are back in a minute.